Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip of Anatomy of the Church and State. Be sure to catch the full episode on Rumble or ChristiansForLiberty.com. Links are in the show description.
Wait, you don't like AI? Because I've been going on about this stuff for the whole time that you were suspended from Twitter. So you kind of caught the tail end of that. That was kind of like my final thing where I was like, all right, watch this guy talk about how he uses AI for everything and he's getting his daughter a subscription. Then watch this girl talk about how they're creating God. Then the last one was this other guy kind of shaming people. And it was funny because Cyprian had said something like a couple of days ago about how, what pejorative are they going to use? It's going to be like something with the suffix. We're going to be called something ists or something phobes or whatever, like we're not, racist or well, it became, instead of that, it was, this guy calls it reality privilege. And I'll read you what this guy says. He says, your question is a great example of what I call reality privilege. This is a paraphrase of a concept articulated by Bo Cronin. Consider the possibility that a visceral defense of the physical and an accompanying dismissal of the virtual as inferior or escapist is a result of super user privileges. A small percent of people live in a real-world environment that is rich, even overflowing with glorious substance, beautiful settings, plentiful stimulation, and many fascinating people to talk to and to work with and to date. These are also all of the people who get to ask probing questions like yours. He's talking to somebody who asked the question about like, well, hey, what if this like starts to get in the way of like real life? And the guy's like, some people's real life sucks and it's better for them to live in virtual life. That's basically, so he says, everyone else.
And he thought he was a genius when he typed that.
He says, everyone else, the vast majority of humanity lacks reality privilege. Their online world is, or will be, immeasurably richer and more fulfilling than most of the physical and social environment around them in the quote-unquote real world. Quote-unquote real world. The real world is put in quotes because the real world, he thinks, is like some fake thing that you're just privileged to have. And I submit to you that I have found, you tell me if this rings true for you too, but I have found that when it's people who are, back to the thing with Elon and his Neuralink and prosthetics and all this stuff, I have found people in wheelchairs, people with Down syndrome, people who are in abject poverty, people who live in places that some of us would never even consider visiting, let alone living, have a happiness and a joy for life that I don't see in some of the richest, most privileged communities throughout the world. And to think that we would tell them, hey, your life sucks, jump in the matrix, it's so much better, as a way to help them. Do you know that if you look society, like country by country, there is a direct relationship, a direct correlation, a direct positive correlation between affluence and education level and suicide rate? That the poorer you are and the less educated that you are, the less likely you are to commit suicide. If there's not a better measure of happiness than your willingness to blow your brains out, I don't know what is. Right. But what this guy is saying is that the real world should be in quotes because that's privilege if you live in a good real world. And what we should do is we should make it to where all the people who have a less opulent real world experience, we should let them live in virtual opulence so that then they will realize that like either they should veg out there or when they take the goggles off, they have to be faced with how sad their reality is when prior to being introduced to the virtual goggles, they were perfectly happy. And they were helping their grandmother instead of looking at their phone saying, shut up, Grandma, I'm reading something. Shut up, Grandma, I'm in this match on Fortnite and I'm top 3.
Like they're not looking for happiness.
This is the world
in God,
yes,
or anywhere. You know what I mean? They're looking for it in technology, where it's like every single Christian that I've talked to that's went on mission in a poor country has said the happiest Christians are the poorest. That's just fact.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So how do we handle it with grace?
How do we handle it with grace?
How do we handle it with grace? Is to recognize that a lot of what is happening, just like with any addiction, is there is suffering, there is pain, and there is a gaping hole, a God-sized hole that cannot be filled with this stuff. And to try to just be graceful and just say like, no, you know what? I found that I actually went in and made some stuff on Midjourney. It kind of weirded me out. There's some weird stuff that came back. And I also found that like, it wasn't real. Like I wanted something more tangible and more real, and just witness yourself, what you experience. And then that way I find that invitation through, like, somebody says, oh my gosh, you have got to try this restaurant. It is amazing. People are like, no shit, where is it? Like, where do I go to this restaurant? Where can I find it? What do they serve? You know, you start to get all this positive inquiry, right? If you say, all the restaurants that you eat at suck because you haven't eaten at this one, you're stupid because you haven't eaten at it yet, is going to have the opposite effect. So just treat everything like you're inviting someone to try a new restaurant that you found that you think is amazing.